And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside Los
Angeles. I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Phone number 888-659-3727. Welcome to another edition of the Tuesday Night Bald Show, The Bald Truth. So great to be here. And I gotta tell you, I like doing it on Tuesday nights a hell of a lot better. What is that noise? Jesus. I'm going to have to go out and see what that is. For those of you tuning in for the first time, I'm a consumer advocate for men and women suffering with hair loss. I am the author of The Bald Truth and the Truth About Women's Hair Loss. And I am a guy who has been dealing with hair loss since the age of 21. Not easy. And it's a real pain in the ass, and the sound is driving me nuts. I don't know what the sound is in this room. It's coming through the vent or something. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but it's driving me nuts in my headset. But I'm a guy who's been dealing with hair loss for a very long time. And if you're looking at me now for the first time saying, you know, holy shit, this guy's got hair in his head, let me tell you that it has not been easy to keep the hair that I have. I have been dealing with, taking medication for almost 20 years. I have a quasi comb over with a lot of hairspray, a little makeup in the back, and voila. I'm a 47-year-old man who looks like he still has a decent head of hair. But let me tell you guys, you know, I still deal with the emotional aspects of hair loss just like everybody else, day in and day out. I don't know how long my medication is going to continue to work. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to pull off this sham. And plus, I'm surrounded by it because this is what I do for a living. You know, I am bombarded with emails, and, you know, we obviously run the most popular hair loss message forum in the world right now. And I see your stories, and I see your angst, and you guys are trying to contact me personally, and at times I'm able to read those emails, and I know exactly what you're going through. But please understand that while there are products and services that actually do work for hair loss, 99% of everything that's being sold in the $3.5 billion a year industry is complete bullshit. Will not help you. Complete nonsense. You know, and that's a reason why, you know, when I started to do this, I never wanted to sell anything. I have had opportunities to work with the biggest direct marketing companies in the world. I have been offered a significant amount of money. Most people never turn down the money that I've been offered to get behind the product or a service. I've chosen not to because I wanted to remain completely objective. So you're not going to hear any commercials for any bullshit products or services on this show. I'm not going to send you to my website to buy any products or services, or to buy lighters or T-shirts for that matter. I am not here to sell you a fucking thing. What I'm here to do is to provide you with completely objective information about anything and everything hair loss. I'm here to provide you with a safe place, a platform for you guys to vent and to talk about your concerns with hair loss, how it's been difficult to live life as a hair loss sufferer. And there's plenty of guys that just don't understand. There are people out there that are still in the mindset that, you know what, if I start to go bald, I'm just going to shave my fucking hair, head. I'm going to wear a hat, live my life. But let me tell you, once it starts, once this insipid process starts, most people who've never thought that this would weaken them or this would upset them or this would somehow affect their lives, those are the guys who are usually the most affected. Those are the guys that fall to their fucking knees and call us up asking for help. I want all of you to understand that we're all affected by this in different ways, to different degrees. I was so affected by my hair loss that I turned my Achilles heel into my career. I was so affected by my hair loss that as a young person, I couldn't go to a regular job because I didn't feel comfortable enough, with, it was difficult to concentrate on my work at the time. It was difficult to go out there, get ready for work. I was living in New York at the time, get on the fucking subway, deal with the wind and the rain and all the stuff, because I was hiding hair loss, even though I had a full-looking head of hair, and a little more hair than I have now at that point. But it was still very stressful for me. So I decided to do something for myself and to do something to change things in this field, to give people a platform, a place to come where society has never allowed them to go before. A place where we can talk and share our experiences. And for those who don't get it, don't watch the show. Don't, just turn the station if you're listening to the broadcast. But if you have a family member, if you have a loved one, a brother, your father, you could be a young guy, knowing you knew your father, he's a bald guy all his life, since you were born, so you didn't know him any differently. But he once had hair. How has it affected your dad's life? Maybe he's not talking to you about it because you're not dealing with it yet. He doesn't want to worry you. But believe me, it wasn't easy for him. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727. We are here to take your calls, to answer your questions about anything and everything hair loss. We are here because we care about everyone who's dealing with this devastating disease of the spirit. If you're considering surgical hair restoration, if you're considering wearing a hair system, if you're considering treating your hair loss, please do your due diligence. Understand, again, that most of the shit out there is complete crap, will not help you. But there are products and services that work, but they will not work for everybody. 2 FDA-approved products, a handful of hair transplant surgeons in the entire world, and that's it. And you can get a good hairpiece these days, but you don't have to join a club to get it. 888-659-3727. Let's take our first caller. Have a feeling it's Joe. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
My bags are packed, and I'm leaving on a jet plane to the Netherlands. Don't know when I'll be back again. Thank you, my brothers and sisters, for recommending that the Ball Truth send me to the Netherlands. I love you guys. God bless you all.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
My name is excuse me. My name is
Would you like to may I reiterate it?
My name is
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
Hey, Joe. Everyone in the chat room is like, why is Joe going? We obviously haven't discussed it, Joe, but like I told you, man, at any point in your life, since you've been attached to this program, you want to do something, we'll make it happen. Whatever it is you think is going to help you. Sadly, you've turned down just about all of our offers. I remember when Ray Woods first came on the scene, before anyone was doing follicular unit extraction, I'm like, listen, man, you want to do this? It's a new technique. I'll foot the bill. You said no. And the truth of the matter is, we understand, I understand you. You're a guy that apparently needs a full head of hair to be happy.
No, well, significantly more hair would be better. The reason I mentioned that was because, as you know, on BulletTruth.com, Bulletproof Talk, a gentleman from the UK started a thread on that.
Yeah, like I said, I read the forum before the program, and I read some threads today, and I thought it was great. I love the fact that you have fans out there, people who really, they listen to the show, they know what you're going through, and they care enough to put that out there. And of course, Joe, listen, you got it. Whatever pleases Joe from Staten Island, he's got it. I don't know if this is going to please you, but if that's something that you want to try, maybe we can send you down there for 2,000 grafts and see if it makes you feel any better.
No, but at this point in time, I'm just being facetious. I don't have any evidence that it works. No one really does. Neither do you. But you're conducting an investigation as of now, as we know that.
I am. I actually had a nice, long conversation with Dr. Go this week, which I did record. And we will be, I guess, getting it up online. I actually have to speak to him about a couple more things to get, his permission for some things that he put online, and then we're going to put it online. And I think it's very enlightening. I think some people may be a little shocked. Some of the guys that are really out there, saying a lot of crap on the internet. And I think some people are going to be pleasantly pleased. And I think that, what I admire about Cohen, what I admire about Dr. Cohen, is that he's been very forthright with me. And he is willing to kind of divulge a lot of his reasoning as to why the technique is not really being, or may not be in the United States for a very long time, and why doctors have not been trained besides a certain group of doctors who he has handpicked so far. And he's also going to be talking about, and during the interview he talks about, just a lot of the intricacies involved with his procedure, some of the reasons why. I brought it up to him. I had mentioned on the air that when you compare his 2,000 grafts to another doctor's 2,000 grafts, for instance, who's maybe doing more dense packing, that the hairlines of his patients seem a little thinner. And I asked him about that because I said there was a lot of question about that. Somehow, obviously the words are twisted and people are claiming that I somehow believe, which I do not, never said this, that his regenerated grafts or his transplanted grafts somehow grow, they're not as robust because the grafts are being split or whatever these guys think that I'm saying. I've never said that. I've never believed that. All that I ever said was that when you look at his work compared to some other guys' work for the same amount of grafts, it appears thinner. And he explained why. So I think, and he agreed with that. So I think this is going to be a really great interview. There'll be plenty of guys out there that, might not be happy with what Dr. Go has to say, but it's the truth. And I think it's important that the truth get out there. But he did make it clear that his technique isn't necessarily what is the way it's being presented online by people who are using online message forums. And I found that very, very interesting and very honest. So I appreciate that. So as far as this unlimited donor dream, right now that's not a possibility.
Oh, that's pretty disturbing to hear.
It's not disturbing. Well, you don't need unlimited donor. If you can multiply your donor supply twice or three times, and you can do it consistently without too much degradation, that's a great thing. That'll change people's lives, especially if you're not causing any visible scarring, even though he does admit there's microscopic scarring. I know people don't want to hear that.
Who cares?
But that's what he, that's what he has said. And, I spoke about that a few months ago, and there was a lot of bullshit being written online about it. Listen, the truth is the truth. This is not a dig on what Dr. Go is accomplishing and what he's trying to accomplish for the future. It's just, it is what it is. So anyway, it's going to be interesting. We'll see if we can get it out this week. I have to speak to him about a couple of things before we put it online. He is a very interesting, and he's a very careful, cautious guy, and I admire that about him because he doesn't want to see any nonsense be put out there.
Well, just tell him that if he can help me, he can, achieve a lot of publicity. If I can ask you that favor.
Say that again?
If you could ask him, bring me up to him, if you have that chance, and tell him, about my situation and that, he gained a lot of fame.
He doesn't have to listen. I get to pick the patient. If he extended an offer. He said we would talk about it. He wants to find a good candidate though. But and I think that for this particular process, you would probably make a great candidate. So if we decide to do something together, if we decide to to kind of follow somebody's progress, why wouldn't it be you, Joe?
Well, I appreciate that. We could stay in the same room and save some money that way.
Yeah, I don't want to stay in the same room with you, but we'll figure it out.
You'd like to stay in the same room, you said?
I'd rather not. I'm just kidding. So let's get to the news. Let's enough about Go.
Okay.
There'll be an interview.
Right.
We'll put that out there for everybody, and then hopefully let the discussion continue, but in a more I don't know, in a more productive way.
Yes. Okay. Well, unfortunately, it's the summertime. It's very, very slow news. What a lot of the sufferers are asking in the chat room is that they're spreading rumors about L'Oreal claiming that we'll be growing 30% of hair on patients.
Right.
I don't know if that's really true. I've seen that in some of the forums. Other forums, I haven't seen that. I really don't know what to believe. Have you heard anything on this?
I haven't heard anything directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak. All I've seen is the rumblings, and I did a lot of reading today. So to answer your question, I have not been contacted by anybody in the know, and I have not been in contact with anybody in the know that could verify this.
Well, if that's just true, 30% on a sufferer's head would be pretty tremendous.
All I'm going to say is, and I am not trying to be a naysayer. I'm just trying to, maybe I'm being devil's advocate, but just I'm not going to hold my breath. If it happens, and if this is something that is really going to help a lot of hair loss sufferers, wonderful, man. I will scream from the rafters and let the world know that they have to get their hands on this stuff. We'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath, Joe.
No, I definitely, agree with you on that. And the other piece news I have is that in October, Allergan will be making an official announcement as what strength they use in their product and how much hair it does actually regrow and how actually effective it is. I have no information on this, so I'm not going to lie like a lot of these guys at message forums do. I'm not, privy to the information that they are, and I mean that very facetiously. I have no idea what the new product will do or won't do.
Oh yeah, these message forum guys, man, they got the inside scoop on everything. They know more than anybody in the industry. It's amazing. It amazes me.
They know more than leading scientists.
More than leading scientists, more than people who have the inside scoop. And what's amazing is they spend all their time posting on message forums instead of, going out there and really helping people. God, if I had this information. Go ahead.
Well, as you know, I'm a bedridden person. I suffer from a lot of diseases. I don't make phony posts on message forums. I don't make up stuff. I only tell the truth.
Well, we appreciate that.
The truth of the matter is, I have absolutely no idea what these people are doing.
We appreciate that. There's actually somebody on the forum, I was reading it today, that said that I'm trying to steer you away from Go, deter you from going to see Dr. Go.
You were trying to deter me?
Apparently.
You never said anything like that.
Well, it's just so fascinating when you read this stuff. It's just like they're like fairy tales.
You've told me personally that when something comes, you're going to help me. You try to help me with A-Cell. You got me free A-Cell with PRP from Dr. Hitzig. It didn't really work, but at least you got me that appointment.
Dude, you could have, like I said, you could have whatever.
Charge me
whatever you want done, unless I think it's going to be dangerous. I couldn't be involved in that. But,
no.
Otherwise, and look, the truth is, and this guy wrote, I don't want to see you be a guinea pig for anything, because I'm not going to be a guinea pig for anything, but that's your choice. You know what I mean? That's your choice. Unless I think it's dangerous, I'll help you out.
Well, you have. You've tried it, in the past, and unfortunately today, there's nothing that we know of exists that can help as of yet, but I really believe that day is coming sooner than anyone may think. Now, one more quick thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Costarellis' name is constantly connected to L'Oreal.
Right.
I don't know if you heard that. They've given him a lot of money for research.
Yeah, it's Costarellis, and I see the guys in the chat room asking me if I could speak with them. That's the one guy in the hair loss world that really does not want to kind of get involved in this end of hair loss media. He sticks with the big companies. He looks for the mainstream media. He doesn't really want to be scrutinized by you guys, and I certainly understand that. He doesn't have to be. He gets so much press. He doesn't need to get himself out there and, kind of be part of the Bald Truth and Bald Truth Talk. So it's very difficult. I mean, I had one conversation with him Actually, you know, and I think about it, it was so long ago. I don't remember if it was him or with his colleague, to tell you the truth. I remember I was on the phone for about 45 minutes. It was a long conversation. And for whatever reason, it was a guy, and I think it was him, but it was probably about 8 years ago. So I don't want to say that I spoke with him directly if that wasn't the case. And I should remember this. But it was somebody from his team, if it wasn't him. We had a nice conversation, and no one wanted to come on the show. And this was at the beginning of everything. This is like around, maybe it was about 10 years ago. Something like that. When did Costerellis first come on the scene, Joe?
Costerellis on the scene, yeah, like you said, I guess about 10 years now.
I'm trying to think if it was him because it's so long. Dude, my memory's so shot. I don't know if it was him or his colleague, and I forget the other guy's name. It was someone on his team. And this is when it all first started. And I've sent emails over the years, and it's just like, you know, thanks but no thanks.
Well, he's a boy who loves to grab press, and millions of people listen to your show every Tuesday night.
It's different. The mainstream media doesn't scrutinize. The mainstream media just kind of puts it out there for public consumption as is. So when he talks to me, or, you know, once this gets out there through our resources, all of a sudden that's when, you know, it's kind of like, you know, shaking a hornet's nest. And then all the questions come out, and then all of the speculation and the misinformation, all that stuff. These guys don't want to be involved. Look, Ken Washunik left a message on my voicemail yesterday.
Yes, what was it?
And he's just getting back to me. You know, asked me how my summer was. Very nice guy. Oh. And I can tell you this, that I'm going to ask him again. I do not think he'll do a live interview. He already expressed that he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to be put in that position. You know, these are big companies working on something that is going to change the world. They don't want to have their feet put to the fire. They don't want to say something on my broadcast or on our message forum and be held to task, and then all of a sudden be destroyed online or defamed online. They don't want to deal with that shit, and I understand it.
So in other words, you feel that if they come on your show, like, hair loss sufferers will, like, challenge them, in other words. That's the impression I'm getting. Am I correct with that assumption?
Yes. And I'm looking at like some posts. So there's a guy here, J-Man, doesn't think I put enough makeup on the front of my head. I don't put any makeup on the front of my head.
What do you know?
The makeup is on the back of my head. Where would I put makeup on the front? Jesus. People are unfucking believable. 888-659. What'd you say?
Worse and worse. It gets worse and worse every week.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
I'm surprised you haven't been institutionalized yet, Spencer.
888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Joe, I'm going to take a call. I'll keep you potted up, all right?
Thank you, Spencer.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I tell you what, I didn't know how vicious the hair loss forums are. I mean, it's vicious.
It's horrible.
That's right. I get to the point where I won't even go into them anymore. It's like oh man, it gets to.
I have to tell you that we have right now the most popular forum. Okay, it is great that we were able to provide this information, these resources to consumers. It's a you know, there's some wonderful conversations going on in this forum. However, it could be a terrible place. There could be such ugliness. You know, and sadly, guys, man, balding guys, I mean, we're all so fucked up. I don't know what it is, but we're all so fucked up, and we're fucked up to different degrees.
It must be the DHT.
The young guys are the worst, man. I mean, I used to see it on the old alt.bald spot. I used to see it, but it's so nasty now. It's unbelievable. People treat.
Why is that?
People do not, because these people are cowards. They're able to vent through their keyboards, you know, from anywhere in the world. And, you know, you think that shit would be said in person, face to face with people?
Maybe drunk.
But do you think people would be calling poor Tracy out?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's I have to laugh, but it's ridiculous. It really is.
What I don't understand is, you know, I understand their frustration. But it's no one's fault. I mean, it's no one's fault that you're losing your hair. I mean, it's genetics.
It's no one's fault that you're losing your hair. It's no one's fault that, we haven't come up with a treatment for everybody. It's no one's fault that the industry is the way that it is. What we try to do, well, that's not true. I mean, there are some really bad guys in the industry, but it's no one's fault that there are doctors out there who are performing procedures to truly state-of-the-art standards, even though people don't want to hear that shit, and really changing lives, helping people, but they decided that, you know what, maybe this is the technique that works best in my practice. I decide the particular doctor who does great strip and great, conventional FUE, who has very happy patients, I don't see anything wrong with that. I really don't, Johnny. People are being helped every day.
Right. But if the patient's happy and satisfied with the results, that's all that matters.
You got these guys, and I was reading this last week. Some guy put up a video, guy who had a strip, put up a video on our site. I don't even know who the doctor, I don't think he went to an IHS doctor. I'm pretty sure he didn't. And, somebody who is on our site, obviously, doesn't seem like the happiest camper in the world, writes, "Oh, you had an FUT, ugh." And I'm thinking to myself, this poor guy, he just had hair transplant surgery, so he must have some anxiety, just, the post-surgery anxiety. And he's willing to put himself out there on videotape, to put his face out there, share his experience, good, bad, or indifferent. It's going to be out there on YouTube. And he's willing to put this out there. And this guy's insulting him, making him feel bad, like he made the wrong decision. I mean, that's horrible.
Well,
it's horrible.
Some of these guys, they don't understand. They haven't been, scarred and maimed in a sense like Joe and I have.
Right.
I mean, we have a right. I don't know if we even have a right, but I can understand why we would be angry and pissed off at the world.
I agree.
But, until you've been through something like that, I mean, some of these guys, all they've done is lost their hair. They haven't gone through, a botched hair transplant. And
right.
Until that, I mean, you still can shave your head, or there's still hope for you.
That's
I mean, guys
right.
like Joe and I, we're screwed.
That's right. And some of these guys are just starting to lose their hair. And some of these guys, they go online and they read so much propaganda from, not even from the horse's mouth, from other forum users. And they think they understand how to read studies. And they focus on studies like the studies are the end-all, be-all. Let me tell you something. Just because something is published in a peer-reviewed journal does not mean that it is the gospel or even 100% factual. You have to understand how the peer-reviewed journals work. There are guys out there who aren't, who've done a lot of bad things. And a guy recently and I'm not going to mention his name, who just got something published about ACell. And, everyone in the medical community thinks that the actual article is very questionable, that the science behind the article is questionable, but it was published. So if that gets out there to the mainstream consumer, to the masses, and people read this and say, well, you know what, this is published in a respectable journal, it must be true. Then all of a sudden, it's the gospel. And that's not the way that it works. I wish that it was. But, medicine is a very strange thing. The politics of medicine is a very strange thing. The way and the reason why doctors get published is not necessarily, in my view, I mean, it's not apolitical, let's put it that way. There's a lot of politics involved. So, I just think people need to... Go ahead.
Asking a question in the chat room of why Joe and I, why our hair transplant scarred them emotionally so bad. Well, because the surgeons that did it, it was the big micro mini grafts. It wasn't the follicular units. The scarring put into the graft site themselves, they were pitted. I mean, I could go on and on and on. It's heartbreaking if you look at it. I mean, until you've been there, my advice to anyone that's contemplating surgery is to do your homework, do your due diligence, do your homework. In 1992, we didn't have the Bald Truth or any type of internet service at that time, so it was tough. Even when the internet came out, back when you got started, when you wrote your book, it was still in its infancy as far as research. So had I known now, or back then what I know now, I wouldn't have let a surgeon come near me with a knife until the breakthrough with follicular unit or strip. It's until you've had it done. I mean, you're living under a hat. You're living under a hat.
Yeah,
I mean, it's.
Do you think in the future, they may have a way to regenerate your donor, and you may have a second chance? Both of us may.
And well, that's true, Joe. But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to build upon what Spencer said about the young guys on the forum being so bitter and angry. It's I understand their angst and their anger, but on the same token, they haven't been screwed like you and I, Joe. If you had not had one cut on your head, you would have the option of shaving your head and going on with life.
Yes, I wish I never did it.
I mean, it would be better than what we have now, correct? Than the condition you and I are in.
Hit my head.
Or Marcus, for that matter, another guy that's completely that's got screwed. So, I would actually tell you young guys, listen, you're much farther ahead than Joe and I. And do your homework.
I castigated young guys on the air last week, a couple weeks ago, if you remember, because they have so many future treatments coming out, and they'll be able to enjoy it in their youth. Where people like me, you, and Spencer will be pretty old when it's middle age anyway when these things come out. Our youth is gone forever. We can never get it back.
Middle age? You're talking unless I live to be 100 or almost 100. I'm not middle aged yet. I'm beyond middle age.
Well, Spencer, I'm not trying to contradict you, but that's very possible with today's medical technology. You could live to 120, 130.
I don't think I want to. For what? 130 years old?
Yeah. Yeah. It's possible.
What am I going to do at 130? What kind of life am I going to have? I'm going to be sleeping all day.
Yeah.
But
you'll have a full head of hair.
Yeah.
Your wife will be 100. Your wife will be 116.
That's true.
Am I correct?
Very close. Yes.
I think when it gets to that, when you start getting to that stage of the numbers, it just doesn't matter.
Well, I hope I can still have sex at that point.
Jesus.
But wait a minute, hold it, Joe. You and Phyllis don't have sex now, do you?
Well, there's other ways of having sex, aren't there?
Oh, so you're not talking in the monogamous relationship. You're talking by yourself or with the transgenders.
That's a possibility, Johnny.
Hey, you know what? Whatever floats your boat. It's a free country.
Right,
you're
guys.
happy, I'm happy.
All right, guys, I'm starting to feel very uncomfortable. I'm going to take a break.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Johnny, thanks for the call.
What are you going to do with your break, Spencer, huh?
I'm going to get some water, Joe.
Okay.
That's it. All right, Johnny, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for the call. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. It's the Hair Loss Show, talking about sex life and hair loss. A little more sex tonight than I need to hear about, especially from Joe from Staten Island's camp. 888-659-3727. I'm Spencer Kobren. You're listening to and watching The Bald Truth. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
The winner of 7 prestigious Golden Forehead Awards.
My family's always arguing. It always starts off innocent and then it gets vicious right away. So I was like, hey, looks like you're losing some hair. At least my wife's not a whore.
Spencer David Kobren.
Some people tell you you're losing your hair. To them it's a joke and they just don't care. You never used to fear a thing, but now you're afraid of the rain and wind. Everyone else still has a hair, except for you, it's just not fair. But we know a guy who's on the air. He's the man who knows all about hair. Spencer's
Hey guys, welcome back. I know. Some of you guys have written over the years that you think it's a corny song, but you know, the Insinuators were kind enough to produce that little ditty, send it over. These guys have played at the old CBGB's New York band Staple, or Staple Band, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, good guys. I appreciate the tune, and I love it. So anyone who doesn't like it can go fuck themselves. That's how I see it. 888-659-3727. I make myself laugh sometimes. 888-659-3727. You are tuning in to The Bald Truth. This is the Hair Loss Show, self-help radio for guys and for girls who get it. On the air about 14 years, which is unbelievable to me. But the reason I'm able to do this is because 200,000 of you wake up every day for the first time realizing that you're losing your hair and you don't know what the F to do. You don't know where to turn. And sadly, you know, in my day, it was the back of the sports section of the local newspapers, some TV ads, maybe you call a doctor or the hair club. There was nothing. Now there is a tremendous wealth of information online, but sadly, most of it's complete bullshit. It's self-promoting crap. Everyone's jockeying for position in Google. They're buying ads, or they're, trying to rig their SEO. They're making all types of bullshit claims. People are selling ebooks saying that they found a cure for hair loss and they're going to share it with you for $17.95 in an ebook. And mother effers are buying it hand over fist. I've seen one guy that's been selling the same ebook for so many years with the same, those long blog type of websites. They give you like a little audio blurb and a little video maybe, and then they tell you to get this book. Yeah. Follicularly Challenge bought one of the, I can't say that, it's a mouthful. Challenge bought one of those books for $35. I think the highest price of The Bald Truth is like $16.95. That's published by Simon & Schuster. It doesn't make a difference. People will buy this crap. They're going to see the American Hair Loss Association when they look up hair loss treatments or women's hair loss or whatever it is. But you know what? They're going to pass us up to buy some bullshit. They're going to find Bald Truth Talk. And you know what? Yeah, you know what? I would say that a larger percentage of guys are kind of jumping into the message forums earlier now, which is great. But in the message forums, there's a lot of crap. We try to, make sure we have moderators who try to weed out a lot of the bullshit. Most of the spam does not get through. It's unbelievable how much spam. It's actually crazy if you can imagine how many thousands of spammers try to spam our sites from like India and all over the world, mostly India, selling some bullshit product or service. And even when that's weeded out, there's so much bullshit being put out there by forum members who don't know shit. So it's really dangerous out there. You have to be able to weed through all the nonsense, understand what's accurate, what's conjecture, what's just complete bullshit, what's wishful thinking, what's what is it called, bro science. Just be careful out there, guys. This is your safe place. We don't sell anything. I'm not here to promote anything specific to me. Yes, I talk about my books at the beginning of the show just to kind of give you a little heads up of who I am. You're not going to hear any commercials for my books on this radio show. I don't sell surgery. I tell you that surgery is your last resort. I am 47 years old and I have avoided surgery all these years. Not that I don't think surgery is a good option for a lot of guys. It's just not an option for me. It's not something that I want to do. I'm concerned about things like shock loss. I'm concerned about maybe not being as happy with the procedure as I think that than I would like to be. Even by going to the best doctor in the world. I have too much hair on my head right now, including the painted on hair, to have a hair transplant, in my opinion. But a lot of guys don't feel that way. A lot of guys can't live with the way that I live. A lot of guys can't deal with the quasi comb over and the scalp makeup. Fucks them up. They're not strong enough to handle it. They're too concerned about what other people think about them. And I understand that. I'm not judging you for that. I may be judged, I got a lot of guys who goof on me about the way I'm, forced to wear my hair, or that I admit to painting my head and wearing hairspray. That's a big goof. It's a lot of fun for people. But I'm not concerned about that. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not too shabby. It could be a lot fucking worse. I could be much less happy in my own skin. I know how difficult it is to be a hair loss sufferer, but I think we need to kind of be less judgmental and just accept how different people deal with hair loss. I deal with hair loss the way that I deal with it. There are guys, and you'll see them on the message forum, who are suicidal because of their hair loss. And maybe at some point at the beginning I was too. I don't think I ever seriously contemplated suicide, but I would say I was very, very depressed. I didn't know what to do. I was so anxious and I felt so out of control. But I came to terms with it and dealt with it and figured out a way to live my life as a hair loss sufferer. And I got to tell you, life's not so bad. Work hard, I do my thing, screw a little bit, eat some food, meet, hang out with my friends and family. I mean, work could be aggravating. Dealing with some of you mother effers could be aggravating, and the people in the industry, but still not so bad. And having a little bit of an odd haircut's not the end of the world either. You got to just take care of yourself, get past it. I know some guys, I saw somebody in the chat room talking about a guy who picks up 10s with a hairpiece. I know a lot of guys with hairpieces. I know a guy who is and I talk about this guy all the time, extremely high-functioning dude, multi-millionaire, self-made man, has a drop-dead gorgeous wife. Full-blown Norwood, never coming back. Chose to wear a piece. And it is what it is for him. He's just like, well, it is what it is. He met his wife that way. And plenty of other women, I'm sure. He became a millionaire that way. Didn't happen before he lost his hair. He lost his hair very young. He succeeded in life wearing a hairpiece and moving on with his life. And there's a lot of guys with body dysmorphic disorder that, and I may have had it to some degree, or it may have developed to some degree, I have to admit, but they figure it out. So all I'm saying is it's not about manning up. It's about figuring it out. It's about finding a place for you where you can feel comfortable, at least come to grips with what you have to deal with. I don't want to live life as a bald man. I don't think that I would look good. It's not something that I'm interested in. So I will do whatever I can to make that, happen, not having to live life as a bald man. If that means gluing on a hairpiece, getting a hair transplant when the time is right, painting my head and using a ton of hairspray, I'm going to do it. And those of you who are going to judge me for it, fuck you. What do I care? You're not part of my life. And you guys should feel the same way. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, Spencer. It's Vic from D.C.
Hey, Vic. What's happening, bro?
Hey, doing good. Hey, I gotta say, your shirt it looks amazing on the internet feed. It's like a dark blue. I don't know what it is, but it looks great.
Thank you very much, man. It's dark blue. Maybe I'll wear dark blue from now on. Maybe it's picked up better on camera or something.
Well, it looks great.
Thanks.
Hey, listen, so I think I've come to the conclusion that I need to do something about my hair loss. So I've decided that couple options. Thinking FUE is the route for me, and also I've been thinking about maybe trying out a piece. Now, I need your advice on something.
All right.
What does a piece feel like? I don't even know what it feels like.
Well, I can tell you that I've felt them on my hands, and I've tried a small partial on the top, and I told you guys about that. When I tried it on the top, it didn't feel like anything. It was so small.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It didn't feel like anything. It was made of a lace material. I also tried something with like a Polyskin 3 material, which is like a very, very thin polymer. If it's applied correctly, it doesn't feel like anything. But I never had anything around the full perimeter of my head. So I don't know how that would feel like. But I can tell you what other people tell me. If they wear a full lace system, if it's applied correctly, after the first week of wear, you kind of you don't feel it again, even when you reattach it. It just becomes part of the person. So they don't feel they don't feel anything. The one thing that they always tell me is there's a tremendous amount of maintenance. And when they say tremendous, it sounds daunting, but it's like you can't just let the hair club do it or whoever do it for you. You have to know how to finesse it. You have to, when the front flips up a little bit because it only lasts for a couple of days as far as being fully bonded, you have to know how to kind of tack it down with a little glue and learn how to do it. And sometimes you're going to have frustration with glue getting into the hair and all types of stuff. But if you're diligent about it, eventually you kind of learn how to finesse it and it becomes second nature. But it's not like an easy thing like the way that they sell it. But once you learn how to do it, it's pretty easy. But as far as my trial, I didn't, I don't know how much hair you're going to need, but for me, I didn't feel shit.
Oh, wow. Well,
I mean, are you the guy that was considering getting something done just in the front?
Yeah, exactly. That's me.
Well, I'm assuming that the front, you may have a little bit more issue because if it does start to kind of peel up a little bit, it's the front. So you're going to have to be really diligent about keeping that tack down. If you have a little yarmulke in the middle, and there's hair around it, if it peels a little, no one's going to see it. So you're just going to have to be kind of diligent about it and do that kind of, do some trial and error and see how comfortable you are.
Definitely. And so that was my first route. And my second route is I'm thinking, okay, let's say I just want to frame the face. What do you think of 500 grafts has a potential of doing FUE?
Well,
I just want to...
I think depending on how much hair loss you have, for the most part, I don't think 500 grafts does a lot. There's actually a guy in our message forum that I read this last week. I didn't look at his thread today. I should have. Who has had 500 grafts by Dr. Ray Woods in Australia. And that was basically his message his post was, how far do you think 500 grafts can go? You be the judge. And I thought it was a really good post. His work looks very clean. I don't think, from what I've seen, it's made that much of a cosmetic change. It has made a change, though. He definitely looks better. But, the images are kind of like dark from what I've seen. So I haven't seen it up close. Usually the work that I've seen up close, I've never seen a 500 graft procedure that's really made a big dent.
Well, question for you. So I'm ready to accept that some of the grafts are not going to grow. I'm ready to accept that there's going to be little white dots on the back. I'm ready to accept that there could be some shock loss. And so psychologically, I'm equipping myself. So one other thing. Now, I have a tremendously oily scalp. And it's probably just very overactive sebaceous glands.
Okay.
Is that going to affect the growth? I really, would like to know.
Well, I think that's a good question. I don't think it would affect the growth. And let me preface it by letting people know I'm not a doctor. I don't think it would affect the growth per se. But I have heard that guys with really greasy scalps, the procedure seems to be a little bit more difficult on the physician. Don't know why. Maybe it's, I can't imagine them slipping and sliding on your scalp, but I have heard this from physicians doing FUE, and I think it also depends on their experience. My advice to you is obviously to anyone, go to a really, really experienced FUE surgeon. You might want to go to someone, kind of make sure that they're performing most of the surgery as well, as far as extracting the grafts. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, definitely, because I mean, after looking at your IHRS website, I think I've come to a couple of names in mind. Dr. Cole, Dr. Feller, Dr.
Great guys.
The gentleman that came on your show to do that live transplant, Alan Bauman.
Alan Bauman is, he's using the NeoGraft device, which in his practice, it seems to be working really well. I'm not usually a fan of NeoGraft. I just like to put that out there. But in his practice, his patients seem to be getting really good results.
So after looking at your shows and looking at the website, I mean, come to a couple, like even Dr. Lindsay or Dr. Wasserbauer. So I'm trying to figure out who I should go to. And there's
Dr. Wasserbauer she's a really underrated surgeon amongst some of the old school surgeons, and it saddens me because she really is good at what she does and she loves what she does. So she's definitely someone who I think does not get as the props that she should as far as being an FUE surgeon, because she's really, really working hard and she's done a lot of FUE cases. So
I agree, because I tuned in for the special show that you had on.
Yeah,
I agree. And
James Harris too, who's basically, he invented the SAFE system. He works with the artists, but he's another guy that I think is sometimes underrated by the online community when it comes to FUE.
And you know what? I was also thinking about Dr. Bernstein too. Now I know he has the artists, and my only concern, and I've heard amazing things about the artists, but what is the punch size on that? Someone told me it's 1.2.
Well, I think actually they're working on a new iteration, but it scores the skin at a 1, and then it spreads out underneath the skin to a 1.2. So it actually can, which is a very interesting and I think ingenious engineering feat, because what they're able to do is kind of like, once they make the initial score of the skin so that the scar is smaller than 1.2, then it actually spreads out in the skin and kind of goes around the entire bulb and follicle so they can get a really robust graft. From what I understand, they're working on a smaller initial punch with the same type of technology so that the scoring will be even smaller, which I think is going to be incredible. Personally, for you, you're telling me that you have dark skin. You have,
it's like Brazilian tan.
My advice is to go with the smallest punch possible, so the artist might not be for you at this point.
And speaking on the smallest punch possible, now I've heard 0.8 is sometimes, like I looked at some posts, and Dr. Lindsay uses 0.8 and stuff. Who would you say? Where would you say I can go? IHRS in the community.
I'd say
that uses like the smallest.
The smaller punches now, you have, I know that Dr. Lindsay's using a small punch. I know that Dr. Feller is using a smaller punch. I know that Dr. Cole is using smaller punches. You can get all of the stats on the instrumentation that they use, and they're fully, they'll give you full disclosure. So, what you want to do is you want to have the small punch, obviously, but you also want to make sure that you're going to a person that has worked with a lot of darker skinned patients that you might be able to see, get some good pictures of, ask them about their scarring. You don't want to jump into it lightly. Just because they're an IHRS surgeon, and I say this all the time, doesn't mean that surgeon is the right surgeon for you. So go take a look at all the guys in the IHRS and make your decision based on their experience with your type of hair, your type of skin tone, and let them understand what your concerns are. And these guys will be honest with you. They're not going to sell you a bill of goods. So I'm glad you're becoming equipped with everything. You're ready for the worst case scenario. But I'd rather you go in there, with being prepared as you are, but coming out with a stellar result. So just don't focus on the fact that they're IHRS members. And I say this all the time. That's a great starting point. Look at each individual doctor as an individual and actually see if you can speak to their patients as well.
Oh, hey, thank you, Spencer, for all your advice.
All right, man. And thanks for the shirt compliment. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, hey, you deserve it. And well, thank you for taking my call. And I got to tell you one last thing before I head off the air. I mean, you don't look a day over 30. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. You don't look a day over.
Honestly, I appreciate that. The lighting makes my hair look darker. I'm much grayer in person, and my beard is very gray in person. So, but I appreciate it. That's very nice of you to say.
Well, you're most welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, man. Take it easy. And listen, don't jump into it, man. Let us know what you decide to do before you do it.
I will call back and update you guys.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
888-659-3727. I'll take another call, Joe. You're still potted up. And then, did you want to say something before I take the call?
Yeah, I didn't realize I was potted up.
You are potted up.
No, you do look. As you know, I saw you last month. You do look much younger than your age. You look like your early 30s in person. Really, that's true.
Dude, one guy said I look 50 in person. I wonder if that's Andrew.
That's why I'm bringing up the fact you look much. That's why I noticed the sufferer 5141 made that comment.
Yeah, it doesn't make. Dude, it does. These guys could all fuck themselves. It doesn't make a difference to me, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you defending me, Joe. But you got to understand where it's coming from. You know, it doesn't make a difference if I look that way, if I don't look that way. What matters is that we have a good life. You know what I mean, Joe?
Well, I don't have a good life, Spencer. I don't know about your life. I mean, I'm trying
to help you have a good life every week. I'm trying to help you with your outlook, and I'm trying to help you with your ability to just deal with things psychologically. And I haven't been successful. I think I've been successful with a lot of guys out there. You're one of the guys that I really haven't been successful with.
Well, you've only been trying for 14 years.
I've been trying hard, like an idiot. All right, let me take this call.
Okay, thank you, Spencer.
Right. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, this is Steven from New York. How are you?
Steven, I'm good. How you doing, man?
Good. I'm a little nervous, so just bear with me.
I'm nervous too. Relax. So what's up?
I'm nervous.
I'm calling because I have some questions regarding maybe if you know, I know you're not a doctor, but if you know anything about this with weightlifting and accelerated hair loss.
Well, I can give you my opinion. What's your question?
Yeah. What do you think about this? Because I'll just tell you what I've read and I've seen so far. I've done some research, maybe the last month or 2 months, and there seems to be a lot of information. It seems just to be a lot of people complaining about the same thing. And I just when one person says something, you throw it away, and then you got 2, 3, you got a couple people talking about it, and it just kind of brings up.
Sure.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious. What do you know about it? And
well, there's a school of thought that anytime you raise your testosterone levels, whether it's through heavy training, sex, masturbation, that you could potentially increase your DHT levels, which can lead to hair loss. There's no scientific evidence that I'm aware of that shows a direct causal effect with weight training and hair loss. Now, they show the causal effect of weight training and temporarily increasing your levels of testosterone, which in theory, you could then convert more testosterone to more DHT.
Mm-hmm.
What you read about on the bodybuilding forums, and there was a time in my life where I used to work out a lot, not quite as much now, but I try to stay in relatively good shape. But I was a lot bigger, and I was training a lot more.
Were you on finasteride when you were doing this?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would say when I was about 32, I was pretty jacked.
That's my age right now, and I'm the same way. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was probably, like I'd been over 210 with a little fat on me at this age, but back then probably about that weight and mostly muscle at about 6 feet tall. So there was all kinds of talk about, if you take finasteride, you're going to be softer, you're not going to have your strength. None of that ever happened to me.
Right.
And a lot of bodybuilders who are concerned about raising the testosterone levels will take finasteride to prevent that. Now, most of these guys that you read about on the forums, on the bodybuilding forums, they're on steroids.
Yeah, I know.
So they're supplementing this and supplementing that. So I personally don't think that there's much of a correlation. I think it's a lot better to train your body and not to be that concerned about your hair losing hair. In the long run, you're going to be happy that you trained your body, and you're going to have a much better life and a healthier life for doing so. But I don't think there's a strong correlation. There's a couple of doctors that may say differently, but in my personal life, I haven't seen it. I've trained, some of the hardest years I've trained were some of the best hair years that I've had.
I see. You know what I did cut out, though, and I did notice a tremendous difference, was the supplements. Absolutely.
I will tell you that there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of truth to creatine and telogen effluvium, going through sheds. I think there's a lot of, I think the heavy supplementation could really affect you as well. Were you taking any of these andro supplements?
Right, I was on that stuff for about a year, and I just noticed my hair was just going to shit. I mean, it was, I had a full head of hair, and I just noticed my hair receding a tiny bit, but also diffusing.
Yeah,
and that was from the shedding.
Yeah, that's pretty common with that stuff. And also, a lot of guys they're supplementing. They kind of want to increase their human growth hormone naturally, so they're taking DHEA and shit like that. Yeah. That is a hair killer, in my opinion.
Yeah. Once I cut that stuff out, the hair loss is still continuing, but it's definitely maybe 20 to 30 hairs in the shower now, when it was almost 100. I mean, I was pulling out full heads of hair out of the shower.
Yeah, well, that's pretty. Having 20 or 30 in the shower is pretty reasonable. It still sucks because you see it, but
yeah, I know.
It's not. It's not. It's probably pretty normal. Mm-hmm. And are you on finasteride now?
Well, that was my next thing. What's what I kind of asked you before, if you were working out and you were on a finasteride. I'm thinking about starting to put myself on it. I'm kind of I know everybody's different, and everyone is. I'm starting to read people that medicate, meaning I think I've heard from you before. You take a 5 milligram every other day or twice a week.
I take a 5 milligram it's not every other day. It's every third day or fourth day, something like that.
Right, and if I'm going to go that route with finasteride or Propecia, same thing. Would like to just probably do it on the days I'm lifting heavy.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I mean, you should talk to your doctor about that. But that's interesting. I would probably talk to him about that, and but what you might want to do is kind of load your body a little bit. Take a small dosage, maybe you can even start off with a 0.5 milligram to 1 milligram.
That's exactly what I plan on doing. Yeah.
And then load your body for a month or so that your DHT levels are consistently the same, and then you can talk to your doctor about doing intermittent therapy.
Yeah, that's what I plan on doing, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on this, because you just read. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. Like you say all the time, it's hard to really pinpoint what's going on with all this. If there was any medical studies done, I don't know if you knew or.
Well, let me ask you, what is your? Are you an actual bodybuilder, or you just like to train?
I'm going to call myself a bodybuilder. I'm 225, close to 5'11" or so.
So you're really jacked. You're just a really buff guy.
I'm definitely above average size guy,
right.
And all natural. But I did cut out that stuff, the creatine, even the protein shakes. I just eat whatever. I eat just eggs and chicken now. Yeah. That's my natural protein. I don't accelerate my protein intake with those shakes anymore.
I was actually asked to give a cover blurb on for a book, and I forget the title now because it was a long time ago. And it was about a book exposing the fitness industry. And what is the name of that book? I have to find it. But it was a really interesting book, and it really just shows you that the industry at large is just like any other industry. There's a lot of bullshit, allegedly. And, the fact that they claim that you need a 1.5 grams of protein per body pound for lean body mass or whatever. I mean, you need so little protein to build muscle, and if you can get that protein from from beef and from chicken and from other sources, even from vegetable sources. And a lot of people just don't believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife, common law, was a fitness competitor, kind of like a figure competitor for a while.
Okay.
And totally has, built a pretty jacked body. And she was told all this stuff. And the truth is, she didn't need to do it. You don't need these supplements. I really think that you want to stay away from that stuff, especially if you're really concerned about your hair loss.
Yeah. Here's another thing. I don't know if you know, but the FDA is cracking down on a lot of those energy drinks now.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, so I think they're next, when they turn their head next, I think they're going to be aiming at this industry, where I think of the stuff we're talking about. Because I saw something on 60 Minutes, or it must have been 60 Minutes. Someone was complaining about hair loss. They were complaining about hair loss because of these products.
Yeah, I believe it. You know, and I've
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that, but I definitely know that there are some. There's been some complaints over the years, and a lot of times these guys, once they stop the supplementation, I know a neighbor of mine who actually ended up getting on steroids. They call it, hormonal. What is it called? Anti-aging, and HGH, but it's anti-aging medicine. Okay. And they basically, once you turn 40, they shoot you up with steroids. You're taking testosterone, and you're taking HGH, and you're taking DHEA. This is a guy that had a completely full head of hair. And, he went to this doctor. He felt a little sluggish. Of course, they say he's got low T syndrome, which he may to some degree. But a lot of that...
probably natural for his age.
Well, it is, but a lot of that could also be curbed and kind of... it could be worked on by diet and exercise. You can actually raise your testosterone levels and your HGH levels naturally to some degree. So anyway, he's putting on all this shit, and now he's losing his hair. And he's jacked, though. He looks like he's on steroids.
Yeah,
but he's really upset about his hair.
Yeah, especially when you had it and now you're losing it,
If you had it till you're 40, it really bums people. People don't realize, everyone's like, you read the message forms. If I could just make it to 30, or if I could just make it to 40, I'd be happy. Let me tell you, it's such bullshit. If you make it to 40 and you start to lose your hair, some of these guys are the most suicidal.
Oh, boy.
So, all right, bro, listen, I wish you the best of luck.
And I don't want to take any more of your time, but thank you so much for taking my call, and have a great night.
All right, you too. And listen, don't jump on finasteride either. Really do your research. Make sure that you're equipped to deal with any possible side effects and things like that.
I will talk to my doctor, but I'm definitely think I'm going to go that the slow dose and kind of like build myself into this. But I'll talk to my doctor about it, though.
All right,
thank
man.
you so much.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
888-659-3727. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Spencer, am I potted up?
I wouldn't be talking to you if you weren't.
As as we know, in our position, some cat in the chat room wanted me to ask if you knew of any specific drugs for what he calls hair loss depression. I don't know if that as specific to psychiatric disorder, or is it more of OCD or BDD related?
I have to tell you that I am not a fan of any of these psychotropic, antidepressants or any type of drug like that. I have used them in the past. When I was much younger, I was on every antidepressant known to man for a short period of my life. And things didn't work. I had side effects. I was put on this. One thing that did work for me was Effexor for a short period of time, but I always felt weird on them. I'm not saying that they don't help people. I'm not saying that some people just don't need them to go on with life. I think you're one of them, Joe, right? You're on antidepressants.
Yes, I'm on antidepressants, antipsychotics, sedatives.
I mean, the sedatives, like the Klonopins and the Xanax. I mean, to me that's reasonable because you have an instant effect. It could really calm your nerves. I think those are pretty good drugs. I'm just not a fan of
calorie-free.
Yes, I'm not a fan of antidepressants. So I can't give any recommendations. And again, I'm not a doctor.
No, I've used antidepressants for a number of years, and they really don't help me because all I have to do is, look in the mirror.
Yes.
Well, excuse me?
Go ahead.
I suffer from disorder, like during the course of a day while I have no one's around the house, my bandage is removed, and I go from mirror to mirror at different times of the day. My hair seems to grow back and fall. I think I told you about this, and fall out 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Then grows back. I would say that's. I'm not a psychiatrist, and neither are you. But would you say that's possibly delusional?
I think so. I think maybe you're having hallucinations from all the drugs you're on.
Oh, because, one day I'll wake up and I feel pretty good. It looks pretty good. Then 20 minutes later, it's like I'm a bald man. Then it grows back an hour later. It's like, Yeah, I think it's definitely delusional, right?
Well, let me ask you: is it different in one mirror compared to the others? Like if you're in the bathroom mirror, you have gray hair, but then when you go into the living room, you're bald.
Yes, that happens on occasion. Yes.
So, but you have like a specific good mirror that you use.
Yes, my bathroom mirror.
So don't look in any other mirrors then. That's my advice. Enjoy that time in front of that mirror.
I feel pretty good. Then I go another mirror and I feel like suicidal.
Well, then don't look in another mirror. Just look in that mirror. Find strategic mirrors, Maybe put one in your garage. What'd you say? Is that what I do?
You feel that you look different in different mirrors?
I do. I do look different in different mirrors. The mirror in my studio is the harshest mirror. I mean, I have like fluorescent lighting in that bathroom. I didn't put a lot of work into the bathroom itself. It's just like, your basic bathroom. Where all the other rooms in the house are like really nicely appointed. So the lighting is much better and I look better. The paint job is less noticeable. The hairspray is less noticeable, And I also look younger.
No, you different lighting. Your skin was, when I studied you, I dissected your skin. It was, fairly, I would say, wrinkle free.
No, I have wrinkles, but I appreciate that, man. I mean, listen,
well,
I don't mind. This is what I find interesting, and I know that people can't come to terms with aging. I'm a 47-year-old man. I like to look my best, the best that I can, at whatever age I'm at. But it's not necessary for someone to say, "Oh, you look so young for your age." It's nice, but if I looked at my age, but good, like, oh, he's a nice-looking man, he's clean cut or whatever, he's got his shit together, he's in shape. That's what matters. Everyone is so consumed with, and the importance of looking young. It's sad in this culture that we don't respect older people. I earned this gray hair, this gray beard. I earned the gray hair. I can't even believe that I have enough hair where I can say I have gray hair at this age. To me, it is a badge of honor to have some wrinkles and to be gray. And the fact that I have so much knowledge. And I don't know why other people aren't like that.
Well, when we were younger, we always wanted to look older. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Like you were a 16-year-old kid. If someone told you to look 21, you'd be flattered.
That's true. That's true.
Kind of odd. Let me ask you one more question from Mike. Do you notice that time is like going at an accelerated rate as you get older, or is it me? The months go by like minutes.
Oh no, it's definitely like all of a sudden it's gonna be New Year's soon. I mean, what is it? It's Labor Day already. I mean, time
will be coming soon.
Yeah, time just fucking flies. I just turned 47, and I'm 47 and a half. I'm going to be 48. Before I know it, I'm going to be 50. That's just the way that it is. I was looking at some old photos. Like we did some little work on the house, and I was looking through some old photos, just of me in common law, just around the time we got our dog, and it was some time ago, almost 10 years ago. It's unbelievable how young I looked, and how different, and just like it was just like. And life just flew by. And what is going to be for the next 10 years? That's why I tell you, Joe, all the time, thinking, why don't I fucking retire? I don't need this bullshit anymore. I don't need to make any money. Why do I still do this? Like I think.
How you live without money?
I have money to live. Don't worry about me having money to live. I'm fine. No problem. And I also have a tremendous amount of opportunities and a tremendous amount of earning potential for other things. So I'm not concerned about that. The truth is I can drop this tomorrow and I will be just fine. And I feel very fortunate that I've kind of developed and honed these skills that where I can make a living. But
you left the human community. Unfortunately, you caused a lot of people probably to die.
Well, you know what? I mean, what am I going to do? I did my thing for a long time, and I still get a lot of shit from a lot of assholes out there that don't really know what the reality of the situation is. So sometimes I think to myself, you know what? It would be interesting to see the massive decline of the industry if I did leave, or if in fact it would decline. I don't know. Maybe there'll be some other guy that puts on a cape, goes out there and does his thing like I've been doing for the last 14 years. You know what I mean, Joe?
No one can ever fill your shoes, man.
It's funny. I'm reading the chat. No, Live. I don't have a college degree. I'm a college dropout.
You don't have a college degree? You seem very well educated.
I went to a really great high school. I was fortunate enough to go to a really great college preparatory school in Manhattan, and I was prepared for life really well. And when I was in college, it was great. I got into a great university. It was a lot of fun. There were some personal issues financially where it made things very difficult. I had to work with my family. And also I just, I wasn't motivated. So I figured, you know what? If I have to work and go to school and do all this stuff, for what? I don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it is. So I left. And I made my own way in this world.
Well, that's very good, Spencer. I have an MBA. I'm not trying to brag, but
I'm very impressed, Joe.
But I was unable to use it because I was a hair loss sufferer.
I know.
I had to choose a career where I could wear a hat.
Well,
but you all know what that was.
Yes, you decided to be. So you have a master's in business administration.
Yes, I wanted to be a stockbroker until the suffering, and my transplantation destroyed my life.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you do any day trading? I mean, since you have this knowledge and understanding of business, and since you were interested in being a stockbroker when you were a young man, are you into day trading yourself?
No, I did that years ago. I'm unable to concentrate now because of my depression has become so high. But do you remember I said a few weeks ago Facebook will be devastated?
Yes.
Remember my prediction?
Yes, I do.
Was that correct? Was I correct on that?
You were. So maybe we need to all take stock tips from Joe from Staten Island.
I told you cats the biology about 3 years ago. The stock quadrupled.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah, but that would kind of be like inside trading.
Why is that? Well, we had no inside information on allergy and what they're doing. We just don't know.
No, it wouldn't actually be inside trading, but I'm sure that if I would have purchased stock, that because I'm in this industry, there would have been some sort of bullshit that I would have had to deal with. I stay far away from all that.
Well, yeah, I guess you have to because you're publicly known. Where I'm more of a clandestine. I'm more of a cryptic personality.
That's true.
You're a public.
No pun intended with the cryptic. But I mean, what do you think about that, guys? What do you think about that, Joe? I mean, I'm seriously. I've been talking about this for a while. I'm seriously considering it. What do you think would happen to the industry? What do you think would happen to like Go's technique or to? I mean, do you think that things would just keep chugging along the same way? Or do you think that as dirty as it is, do you think that it would get worse again?
I think a lot of people will be happy if you left. A lot of these so-called physicians, they could easily go back to destroying people's lives without you challenging them. They'd be very happy. A lot of people would be very happy if you left.
Well, that's true.
But what do you mean?
I think my wife would be.
Well, I don't know how your wife would feel about you. Giving up a great career where you're helping a lot of people. I mean, you're saving a lot of lives. How the industry would change? Yes, doctors would have a free hand and do whatever the hell they want, but the sheriff would not be in town.
Yeah, but don't you think all these like brilliant forum guys would be able to control things somehow?
Well,
I'm just fucking with you. I'm fucking with everybody.
You're one person who has the influence that no one else has. The other people that have no influence at all. You are the most influential. I would say the most influential person in the whole hair loss industry, son. I have to say that.
You know what? Who gives a shit? When I think about that, when I was a little boy, I could never have imagined that would have been what I've turned into. The most influential person in the hair loss industry. What a bizarre role is that? What kind of a bizarre role is that? Think about that, Joe. Did you ever think that you'd be calling a hair loss show for 15 years?
Well, no. I knew I'd be a hair loss sufferer since I was 12 years old, as I knew because I predicted that. But I thought after a few years there would be a cure, and I think we'd have a show on. I guess I was wrong about that.
Well, you know what's funny? It's like they should have like people should have like a list of the least sexiest jobs in America, and I think that the least sexiest jobs in America, and I think that this would be number one. The hair loss guy.
What?
The least sexiest. You know what? Did you hear me, Joe?
Yes, the least. I couldn't hear the last part. What'd you say?
Sexiest. The least sexy.
The least sexiest?
Yeah, that's right. This is the least sexiest job in America. When I try to explain to people what I do, they look at me like I have two heads. It's unbelievable. You can't hide the fact that even if your hair looks good, you can't hide the fact that you have hair loss, because as soon as you talk about what you're doing, it's a big thing. I had a person in my home. We were doing some stuff in the house, and she comes in, very nice woman, and she's like, "You're in what? You're in hair restoration. And she's just her, and this is after she came to the studio and she saw some of the stuff on the wall. And before, when I had met her, when she came into the house, did not look at my hair once, looked at me directly in the face. Then after she saw the stuff in the studio, on the studio walls, she was like, she had no idea. She didn't understand what the fuck I did. I had to try to explain it to her. And then the whole time, her eyes are going up to my hairline. It's ridiculous. Oh, that's great. That's very interesting. Wow, I've never heard of anything like that. How do you explain it to people? I've been doing this for 15 years, and I have to explain it to people all the time. Part of me is like, you know what? I don't even know if I want to explain it to anybody anymore. So, Joe, I'm going to let you know that if I do decide to retire, we're going to put a group of you guys together. Maybe we'll continue the show somehow, and I'll produce it.
Well, maybe I can have like a major starring role in it. Would that be a possibility?
If I retire, yes, absolutely. I told you that.
Maybe I could make $25 a show. I could use it.
We'll definitely figure something out. Joe, listen, let me tell you something. If I have you on the air, on camera, we figure something out like that, then for sure. And you can hold court with Johnny Ohio, and then maybe George will call in more often. I know Andrew's pissed right now. He's like, I thought I was going to get the show.
Well, Andrew will be the producer, obviously, right?
Andrew can continue to produce the show. But then I don't even know, hold on for a second. I don't even know if I still want to be connected to it if I left. So I don't know. But anyway, guys, I have a feeling I'm going to be doing the Bald Truth for a long time, unfortunately. So
I hope not that long, man.
Well, yes, I hope not that long. But still, like you'd say, Joe, even when this stuff comes out, man, I'm still going to have to do this because people are going to be ripping people off.
Yeah, right. Selling counterfeit estrogen. You know what's going to happen. We all know what's going to happen.
Yeah. All right, man.
Same shit's going to happen all over again. All I could say is, man, just try, Spencer, because people, they live waiting for next week, and you're back on the air.
And that's not I don't have enough pressure. Joe, look, we're gonna keep coming back. You're going to, provide people with the information that you provide people with. I will give as much advice as I can until this thing is over, I guess. But I only have so much control of what goes on in this industry. And frankly, I do not control what happens with the new technology. I don't control what happens with this guy in the Netherlands. I don't control what happens with our guys here in the U.S. Adapting new technology. All I can do is present it to them, and then the industry has to, move in the direction that they think is going to benefit, obviously, the patient and, I guess in some cases, their pocketbooks, unfortunately. That's just the way the world works. We try to get the best information out to the public. We try to make sure that people are safe, and that's all I can do. And Joe, like I told you, whatever you want to do, we're here to help you. So even if I decide to leave one day, I'll do my best to make sure that you are, first in line for whatever you need.
You're such a sincere person, Spencer. I really appreciate that. Maybe if you 2 weeks do the show, maybe someday you can make me like a sidekick, and you can relax for most of the show. How would that sound as a possibility?
Well, you know what? You're kind of like that right now. I can just if you want to take another call, I can just turn off my mic and I can sit back and kind of run things, and you can talk to them.
I'd be more than happy to do that, Spencer. You know that.
All right. Well, maybe we'll try. We'll try that on a couple of calls next week.
Well, my dream is to one day be your sidekick. I've been auditioning for 14 years. That's my dream.
All right, Joe. Listen, guys, Joe, I'm going to
And one more quick thing. I work pro bono.
I know you would. I appreciate that. Joe, always a pleasure. Guys, thank you so much for calling in. Let me give out the websites, thebaldtruth.com for the American Hair Loss Association. Check out AmericanHairLoss.org. Check out the message forum, if you dare, at baldtruthtalk.com. All kidding aside, it's a great place to share information, to learn from other hair loss sufferers. Just read some of the stuff with kind of like, take some of the stuff that's, posted with a grain of salt. Realize that there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of unhappy people out there, just like we all are dealing with hair loss. So try to be patient with each other. Try to respect each other on the forum. I think a lot of good is done by you guys having the ability to share your experiences and information with each other. So that's baldtruthtalk.com. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.